You know that feeling when he goes through your body and you think to yourself, do you know what? He's not muted it. Yo, people, and welcome back to another edition of Three Men and a Vape Show. We're happy to be back. Last week, we had a good show last week as well, didn't we? Because we were on. I was thinking now we're actually flooded and we weren't on, but that was actually Savs. We have got the wonderful James from the King's Custard. How you doing, brother? It's nice to have you back on the show. Now he's muted. He's muted.
Yeah. It's all
sign language. You've muted yourself as well, bro. You'll sort it out. And I've got my wonderful.
There we go. Finally.
There we go.
How are we, fellas? All right?
Yeah, we are now. We've got you on. We're all happy. Are you all right?
Aye, I'm not so bad. Not so bad at all.
Good. That's what I like. Do you know what? I was thinking of our poor Mark last week. He had Bobo on his show on Thursday, and it all went tits up for him as well. I'm thinking, do you know what? He's going to be passing over this. Right then, boys and girls. It's nice to see the wonderful Salford. How are you, brother?
not too bad. Not too bad.
Are we feeling a bit better than we have done the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, still got a snotty nose, though. I can't get rid of this cold. It just keeps on going and coming back all the time.
Yeah, I've got a bit of a snotty nose. And the wonderful Mr. Coily, how are you?
I'm very well. Very, very, very well, thank you.
I think it was like,
I'm not going to
very
complain.
much for feeding Henry. And we'll start again, James. How are you, brother, from the King's Custard? You all right?
I am good. Thank God I've got the mute sorted out this time.
I can just hear it coming through. I'm thinking, it's going to be echoing. Doesn't matter. We're here now. We're all set and sorted. Well, I'll tell you what we'll do like we normally do. We'll just have a little look round the buffet. We'll start off with Simon first. Simon, what have you vaping on, my friend?
I wasn't ready. I'm not vaping on much today. As per last week. What?
Never said that.
Blotto on top. This was so I got a Blotto, and it was I remember saying about it on the show. The airflow was knackered. The airflow ring was knackered. So this came direct. This was the one that they were trying to charge me another $15 for the tank, and then another $15 on top for postage to send me a replacement from China. But the advantage was when it came, they've obviously altered it so that the glass doesn't fall off anymore when you take the base off it, which was good. So that on top of the V I never know how you say it, V sticking, and in that I have blueberry jelly, which was one that Mr. Drawbridge got me onto a while ago, and I still vape that. I really like it. Very nice. Not one of his juices, but one I think it was one of the cheap ones that Jamie was just trying to palm off on me as a.
Oh, I can't say that about juice.
But it is. It is really, really, really nice. And the only other thing I'm vaping on, because I've got one ready, but James gave me his Shamrock OG and the nameless juice, and I was saying to him the other day, I didn't want to try it until I came onto the show. And I had 2 mods and 2 atties set up ready to go, and I went to get one of them out, and it was manky inside, so I'm going to have to manage with one attie. The other thing I got last week is this Grim AIO pod thing, which is. It's nice, it's well built, and it's solid. There's no magnets in this one, it's just like a clippy on thing. And I prefer it to the Artery Pal 2. And I like the little top fill thing on it there, because it's got like a little slidey door thing on the top that you do to fill it up. But I was just a bit meh about the flavour. It was just... I don't know. It was good. It's not bad, but I was expecting something absolutely amazing.
But it's not as good as your Voopoo?
No. For the flavour, the Voopoo Vinci is still better than this.
TVP just said there, 50 quid as well.
Yeah. Yeah. It is expensive, and I said it feels nice. It feels well built, but it's just the flavour. And the other thing, it's got the bloody charge port in the bottom as well, which I detest.
The only thing about that is, I believe he slated the Orchard, which is very similar to it.
Yeah.
And that's clipped in. That's not got magnets.
No. And it's like I said, it's nice, but it just didn't blow me away. Just not that. Like I said, the flavour. I've got the 0.6 mesh coil. I think you've got in it. Apparently, it's the same. You can use the artery coils in it as well. Apparently, the artery 2 coils in there as well, so it's compatible.
Well, they're all BBC coils, aren't they?
Yeah.
If you could use that, you'd be able to use the Aspire coils in it as well.
Yeah. The one thing I'm trying. So I've my little. I don't know if you remember, but I have my little Uul Caliban that I really liked, which is just a little. And you like that as well, don't you, James?
That kind of Uul Caliban.
Yeah, little tiny little thing. And the thing with that is I take it across to Bury with me when I go over there.
Bury.
And it's in my suitcase. It's in my suitcase. It gets tipped up. It's up and down. It's shaking about all over the place, and I still get there. And it never leaks. It never spits. You never get that juicy stuff in your mouth when you're vaping on it.
I wasn't saying anything. You just started laughing.
But I've taken this across. I took the artery, and I fucking left my artery pal too at the hotel last week, and it's disappeared. So took this across. This was a bit leaky when I got there, and the Vinci I took across, and that was leaky when I took it over there as well. So I'm going back to the Caliban. That's going to go on my travels with me. And just in there, I've got the Elements Tangerine, and that's another juice that Mr. Strawberry's got me onto. When not long after I first started vaping, about over 3 years ago now. So I've been, and it's sweet. It's a coil killer. It coils that last 2 minutes, but I just love it. It's my all the Elements juices are my favourite juices. And then I've just got ready to try the Shamrock and the Nameless Kings. I've got my double barrel with the which I haven't got the top on it. But I've got the Alexander on top of the double barrel to try that one. And that's it. That's me.
You said you haven't got much.
No, well, I didn't. I only really have the V6 with a blotto and the and this thing, the Grim thing. Oh, it just comes with a little. It comes with a neck thing, a lanyard as well. Does this? Yeah.
A lanyard.
That's where your 50 quid goes, Mark, on the lanyard.
Yeah. Well, we'll pass it over to the wonderful Salford. And what are we vaping on?
All my bagging bin stuff, really, to say the truth. Nova kit, which costs 25 quid, so I can't complain at that. And in that, for the change, and none of you have got put it up, I've got some Moorish puff.
Ooh, a bit of a Moorish puff.
Yeah, Big D Vape sent me that over. Because you keep on flashing yours, you see, and I'd never tried it, so Danny sent me some over. I've got the Plexa kit from last year, well, early this year as well. I told you it's on bagging basement stuff. And I've got another juice, one that comes from America, that Danny sent me over. Cyclops. It's supposed to be a blueberry Danish. And do you remember the Imps, the little black toffee?
Yeah.
It tastes like that. It doesn't taste anything like blueberry. It really doesn't, but it tastes nice because I love them sort of things. Again, another bagging bin one. The Thor in its new colour, because they brought out 3 wood finish ones in the plastic.
It's quite nice, that.
Yeah. It's alright. That's again 22 quid or something like that. In that, I've got some 88 Vapes, coconut and pineapple. And that's really nice. And that's basically me, except for me mouth to longer as normal, me Adepts with me own tobacco in, and the Vinci. And that's it.
You're right into the Vinci Salford.
I like it, even for the mouth to lung one though, it's still too far open.
Yeah, it isn't. It for me, which coils have you got in at the point? The one I think it's the 1 ohm. The 1 ohm's fairly tight, but it's still not. It's still fairly loose.
It's the mouth to longer one I've got in. But I tell you what, the flavour from it with the Nick salt's really, really good, even though it's so far open.
I can't actually manage, and I might be a wuss. You can call me a wuss if you want. I've had to go down to 10 milligram Nick salts on it. I can't do 20 because it makes me cough like fuck.
Yeah, I only do 10 because of that reason. Cough like buggery with 20 milligram.
Yeah.
And that's basically me, except for what I've got ready for James's juice, of course, because I've got some here. I've got my old Odyssey out with a wasp on. Well, I've got all three or four Odysseys out with wasp on. Ready to try his juice.
Nice.
James's juice.
It's always nice.
I'll take your word for it.
And we'll go straight over to James. What you on, brother?
Well, I hate to say it, batting for my own team, but I'm on the Shamrock. I can't put it down.
Yep.
More about that later.
Yeah, more about that later. I'm on the Purge, 700 steel and smoke. The OG on the back.
Someone to say something then.
And then a little present that I got sent over to my friend in Germany, big up Pascal Ring.
That is gorgeous, that, you know.
Real nice patina on there with the King's logo as well.
Your logo on it as well.
Yep.
That's nice, that.
Yeah, that's what we like. And then we got the new Resurgence from the Immortal mod. Real nice idea there. Got the lid here. And, I don't know if you can see that. Excuse the wicks, I'm not exactly the cleanest person at the moment.
See, James, sometimes when you go in and you see he's been building something, you've never seen, you know, like the untidy chef, there is just fucking shit all over the place.
Yeah, I really wish I could show you the shop right now.
Huh?
I really wish I could show you the shop right now, but...
It'll be tidy, is it?
No.
What builds in that, James?
In this, and I've got a big shout out to a good friend of ours, Bazooka Coils. What have I got in there? So, these are some of his polished. I think they come in about 0.1. But if you take a wrap off, you can go down to 0.08. Apparently, these things matter to the kids these days.
Don't be saying that. In it. Okay, you got a right cough there, brother.
I know it's terrible. I've had a chest infection for like 2 weeks, and I just cannot shift it. I'm on antibiotics and everything. Today's the first day because of the show that I've had a couple of draws in my back, but I didn't think I could manage it. But
I had the same cough, and it's one of them coughs, and it just don't go away. It's a Pringle cough as well, because once you start, you can't stop, and it's horrible.
that's the thing. I've been playing, doing a lot of video chat with people. It just kind of seems that whenever I laugh, I end up in a cloud of coughing, and I'm just not really enjoying it. But I feel a lot better today. It must be you guys.
Oh, that's what we like to hear.
Yeah.
Is that it? You got some more?
Just one other thing that I want to talk about. Juices from around the world, obviously, so different palettes, different mixes and stuff like this. One juice brand that really sticks out to me at the minute. The worst part of it is I haven't even got any bottles to show you because I'm completely sold out. But it's a juice company from South Africa called Fire E-Liquids, Fyre. I don't know if you've seen it, but one of their juices really sticks out to me. It's an orange, lychee, lime with a slight little bit of cool in it as well. Now, palately, I honestly didn't imagine they were going to mix. But, yeah, really good. Really good. And not only that, but they do a chocolate fudge cake as well, which actually tastes like chocolate fudge cake. Fair enough, instantaneous people with like taking chocolate, put it on the finger, it'll taste like chocolate.
Yep.
You vape it, it's just a bit.
It's very hard to get a chocolate vape.
Exactly. But most people using Boston cream pie in the mixes, I understand it's a chocolate-esque flavour, but this really has got it on the tea. One of the other flavours is a bit of a weird one. I think it must be a non-UK thing, but they have like a milky tea.
Yeah.
Condensed milk, cinnamon, star of anise, and tea. It's really nice. It's changed different for a creamy sort of vape. It's quite light. So yeah, really back those juices at the minute. They do a guava.
That's Fire. And where's that from?
I think. Just give me 1 second.
He's done a runner. Did he say
you
South
scared him away.
Africa?
I thought you said South Africa.
I wonder if it's a coil killer. I wonder if it's all, so when it's from abroad.
That's the brilliant part. It's kind of like it's a reserved sweetener. So, you could do, 3 to 5 days and you'd be changing wicks. My own juice, probably, 2 or 3 days and you're changing your wicks. But that's the brand there.
Oh, wicked.
Yeah.
Really nice. I really rate that.
I like that label.
Have you got that online to buy?
I'm pretty sure you can pick it up from Flawless.
Yep.
They seem to be bringing it into the country. But yeah, also just looking back to the Bazooka coils, I cannot talk enough about his coils. The two big competitions. Won a competition at Expo the other week using it, £500 prize, an endless mech and an apex mech. Big up all companies involved. But yeah, that was good. And then came second in Berlin World Cloud Comp prelims. Allegedly, they were going to fly you to Jakarta if you won.
Yep.
My friend won, and there was no talk about anyone being flown to Jakarta, so it was a bit of a bust, really. But,
I'd be disappointed at that.
Exactly. But I definitely, if the best part about bazooka coils are the proof is in the pudding. A lot of people are using them, but not only that, but they are very, very good price coils as well. I think you pick up a set, competition level coils, about £6, maybe £6.50. And that's retail as well. His wholesale prices are very reasonable as well. So, anyone looking for some decent coils in the shop, hit up Matt Craven, bazooka coils. He'll sort you out.
So I was talking about Expo. Sam was saying you had a stand there, and I missed you.
Do you know, to be 100% honest, it was terrible because where we were going to be was pretty much the stand where we were going last year, but there was a stand called The Village. It's like a collection, and they're really tall. So the organiser said to us, "Are you sure you want to be there? We're actually contemplating clearing that road because the shadows too much." And we were like, "Okay, thanks for letting us know." They moved us about 20 metres down to the left. Exactly the same thing happened. We just got swallowed up by some completely huge stands. Don't get me wrong, we had a brilliant weekend, good sales and good prospects, but the only sort of thing was we were drowned out again. I mean, still, we had a good time. We had a very, very good time.
TVP says we're all lazy bastards. I just must have missed you. That's when Simon said it, because obviously if I'd have known you were there, obviously I'd have come and said hello, and I missed it. What did you actually think of Expo? What was your thoughts on it?
I won't lie, matey. I spent 90% of it behind my stand, so I didn't really get to see it. I understand the attendance is on the decline for the last 3 years. I've been trying to figure out what the scene's missing, along with a lot of people for a long time, and a lot of people want to bring the scene back to the old days. Unfortunately, you're never going to do that because in the old days, it was sort of a race to 200 watts. The company's tanks got bigger, obviously people wanted bigger wattage and everything like that, and it got to a certain point where everyone's still producing 200-ish wattage mods. It hasn't really kind of gone any better for any benefit, apart from some people just love to blow through juice.
Yeah.
These days, I'm quite reserved. I make 50 mil last a week, But my attitude towards Expo this last year, I see a lot of people with a lot of money in a big room. And I see a lot of people trying to spend the money in unethical ways, trying to catch people's attention. And I'm not sure it's working. Personally, myself, I mean, don't get me wrong, the whole industry, I understand some of these stands make a lot of money from scantily clad birds and big marketing and stuff like this, but I've never really took one of those companies seriously. I've never really thought oh yeah. The sales point was, have you seen the birds on that stand? Not, we tried that juice, mate. It's really good.
So you've not thought about getting a king with custard on stilts and shout, you've got 40,000 3 flavours, or?
Well, you see, there we go. I mean, to be 100% honest, I've always said this. I've always said this. Like, instead of investing any money in promotion girls or anything like that, I'd much rather give the people what they want. People want people don't want 10 mil. People want 60s and 25s so they can actually try a juice out, And that's the one thing that really annoys me at the minute. People are just trying to promote. The other side of the crew is people are trying to promote without putting a lot in. They're trying to get the most out of it. That really annoys me as well.
But obviously I was there. I thought there was a little bit more footfall on the Saturday. I thought there were more than what there was in the May, to be honest with you. I thought, as well as I loved the fact there wasn't boom boom music. Friday there was none at all. Saturday it was very, very minimal. It was just so much better without that boom boom boom. The stage was quieter than normal as well.
That's one thing. We were a bit nervous about being down that end, being so close to the stage, and we all brought earplugs with us and didn't end up using them, so it can't be that bad.
No, I thought it were a lot better with that. I wasn't too keen on the way they'd sort of like got these alleys off. You went down that main street and then you sort of went off and then they had other little alleys and you sort of got lost. You didn't know whether you'd been round it. That's probably why I missed you as well.
They tried to put an egress system, didn't they? They tried to have an exit at one side of the hall and an entrance at one side and an exit at the other. So the whole kind of point is that you would pass through it. Now, I kind of think a lot of people walk down the red carpet and out. You know, and they kind of convince themselves that there's not enough, there's not enough there and all stuff like this. And I was like, well, you know, if you took your time and actually had a look around, you know, there might have been a bit more. One of the things that really kind of annoyed me a bit is one of my favourite bits of Expo is always the modders block.
Yeah.
I love seeing what people are doing. It was totally out of the way. All the people that were on the modders block were telling me that, oh yeah, people just kind of walk past it, they're not bothered.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And there was some lovely mods there, weren't there?
Beautiful mods. And not only that, but I was speaking to Paul Harrison, and he really is innovating. Obviously, he's trying to do the whole clouds thing. The only thing is, the mech companies kind of get forgotten about. So I believe, I'm not 100% sure if this is actually confirmed, but there's going to be a mech area, if that makes sense. So if you're still into mechs and you still enjoy things like that, the area is for you. You know, and if you don't want to be there, you don't enjoy that stuff, then there's obviously millions of juice companies and mech companies. And, you know, one thing I've never understood about Expo is, and if someone can please help me out with this, you know, the shoulder straps. You know, it's like a gun, but for your kit.
I didn't see them.
What the fuck is that about? Like,
were they there again?
Excuse my French. I don't know if they were held there, but I've always seen people kind of walking around there, and I'm like,
they was there. They've probably been there last 4 times. I didn't see him this time. There was certainly one. It was an oldish bloke with a white beard and his wife. And like you said, it's like a holster and it clips over, and you just put your mod in it.
I just don't get it. It just like.
I got berated last year because I went around with a bloody lanyard with my mod on it, and I don't care. It was great because everybody else was saying, "Don't put your mod down, don't put your mod down. Wherever you go, don't put your mod down." And it was great because I had mine around my neck all the time. Nobody ever offered to nick it. Did you have a bum
bag as well?
No.
Oh, right.
No, that was just me. That was just my arse hurting. Massive arse.
You'd have been matching if you'd have had the bum bag as well.
Yeah. One thing that left me with a little bit of a sour taste in my mouth is the second show that I've done inside 12 months where I've had a mod nicked.
That's because you didn't have one of them holsters, James. You had one of them, you wouldn't have had it nicked.
I need a 10-breast holster. You know. You want to try this?
What? If you don't mind me asking, what day was it that you actually had it stolen?
Saturday.
Right, because there were a lot. One went from the Atrona stand that Steve Dilligaff Porter were on. There was stuff nicked from the actual where the reviewers were sat, and I've just come. It's really weird you said that. I don't know whether it's been nicked or.
Did you say you just come in?
Well, I'll tell you what. I've just opened up the Enivap, which is the new one, and I've gone to open it up, and the mod's gone from the inside of it. Now I didn't check it when they gave it me. I just put it into my bag and put it in my normal bag, and then brought it home. And I took it out today to start testing it. And it's not there. Because I was actually going to put your Shamrock in one side and a Nick in the other. And it's not there. So it's either means that they took it out and shown it and somebody's had it there, or it's been nicked. But yeah, it was rife apparently, especially on the Sunday.
Yeah, I even had I can't remember the name of the juice company. The worst part is he's a very good friend of mine. The worst part. But he was telling me that he had stuff stolen and he had his sample mods stolen on the Friday evening. It's something I've never heard before in my life. I always thought you could kind of trust the NEC security. From what I understand from when I used to work there, it was the cleaning staff that used to because they grab something, they throw it in the bin, and then when they go,
yeah.
take it over. I really don't want to believe any of this in this industry, mate. And not only that, I kind of hope that a bit of self-regulation will happen. If someone actually was going off and said, "I'll just nick this off the king stand, fucking dick, you fucking tie it down next time." Just kind of sat there going, it really shouldn't be like this.
No.
I mean,
see, we're obviously in the reviewers area. All the reviewers know each other, and I know each one of them. And I could nearly put my hand on my heart and say that there's none of the reviewers who have been together for so many years would ever take anything from anybody else. So
they've got an online presence. They are somebody. Do you know what I mean? This is probably somebody. I mean, there was that guy. Was it last year?
The Facebook group.
An Evolution site, and he run a Facebook group, and he was the one stealing something.
I love that one as well. I've talked about it plenty of times. He's got his Facebook group written on the side of his thing, and they've gone to look at the CCTV, haven't they? And they've seen it. Now, the bloke sends a message to him, if you don't come back and pay for these kits, you owe me blah, blah, blah. He says, well, I've only got 40 quid back left. He says, well, bring me the 40 quid and give me the kits back, and we'll say no more. And then they put it all up on Facebook. You're just completely ruined if you do something like that. You're just completely ruined.
That's it.
You just raised an interesting point, James. I was going to ask you. You said about having a mech area. What's the mech market like now? Because is it taking a hit with like pods and stuff like that, or people? Because I know a lot of people are moving back or moving to pods, aren't they? And you don't. I didn't take much notice when I was there in May, but how many people are actually sort of walking around using mechs now compared to what they used to do?
I don't know. You've got the old school like myself that will not use anything else. The pod thing lasted me a while when we were on busy festival season, but in the exact same respect of it, for me and for pretty much anyone that I'm associated with, it's a mech thing. I do probably see that from difference from about 2 years ago, there's a lot less people using mechs now. I think some people think they're a ball ache. You've got to keep them built, you've got to burn your calls off, keep them wicked. And a pod system to them is just 10 times easier. They can just stop juicing it and go. I think it's just because, is it how much you care about your draw? I mean, in the exact same respect of it, these people who use these pod systems, they're never going to use an RTA. They're never going to build anything. And in the same respect of it, like, is it because we took the time to learn, they're maybe too busy, or it doesn't fit their lifestyle? Or, I don't know. One thing that I thought of that I would see would be people that are on pod systems would still crack out a mech every now and again. Obviously, there's still some pretty big groups on Facebook. You got Mod Wars Worldwide, and you got as well.
Do you know what? My brother, obviously solo, he was just completely mechs. Everything were mechs, but he's sort of like, I don't know if I don't think the word's progressed, but I think that he's now using mods more and tanks more than I've ever known him to use. Because every single time you saw him, he'd have a mech. Where now he's mixing up. I think with the fact of the mesh coils coming out, and you're getting some really corking flavour off these mesh coils now. And obviously, when you're taking a mech round with you can only put it in a certain way. And sometimes if you're working, it's a lot easier, isn't it?
You've got to carry spare batteries. You've got to carry a big pile of juice. You've got to carry a nice fucking heavy mod. So, some people don't want to do that anymore. It's so much easier just to have a 10 mil in your pocket and a pod. I get it. I really understand it. But I think one of the things, just to fly back to it, as I mentioned about the race to 200 watts. So, like, I don't know if you can remember it, the Sigelli 100 watt came out, and everyone was like, wow, what the fuck, 100 watt, 2 batteries, wow. And then, the Relo, J-Bo Relo came out, with mech, and then everyone went with 3 batteries, everybody ditched the Sigelli 100 and moved on to this, and then there was the tanks game to kind of come up to this whole point, and there was some experimental tanks that would go running 180, 200 watts and such, but there we go. And with mechanicals, it kind of seems that you've got to a point of fuse Clapton. You see, I was one of these people who never wanted to use fuse Claptons. I wanted to carry on with my round wire, and just seeing other people's performance made me realise, hold on a minute, maybe we need to change the tech up a little bit. And then obviously people changing battery sizes onto a 21700 and obviously 2700. We got to a plateau now where it's kind of levelled off. There's no innovation. There's no way to squeeze any more power out of it without upping the battery size or more batteries. I mean, some of the stack mods that I'm seeing at the minute are just insane. And
Huge, aren't they?
Some of the products that I'm seeing coming out from Vapor's Cloud as well. The Rule Breaker, triple 21700 in series. It's like, what, is that 12.6? 12.6?
Tell you what, stick it in chat. What are you vaping on now? Was you a mech head, or have you sort of changed your way? Let us know in chat what you're sort of vaping on now more than before. But yeah, I think things have changed. I think another big thing that started coming in, especially at the beginning, the end of last year and beginning here, mouth to lung sort of took off a little bit better, didn't it? They started coming out with some corking RTAs, and then the one called Steam Crave that I absolutely love that. You started coming back again, the mouth to lung sort of thing, didn't it?
Yeah, that's
If you look on a lot of the websites now, the vape websites, the online stores, the amount of big RTAs now seems to be dropping dramatically, and the amount of mouth to lung RTAs seems to be climbing dramatically as well. They seem to be going completely the way around.
Mind you, I did speak to one of my distributors the other day that I deal with in the shop, and asked him, so what rebuildable MTLs have you got in? And he just kind of went, we've maybe got the Vandy Vape one. And I just kind of sat there, I was like, yeah, but the whole market's moving and you're not.
Yeah.
So where does this go? And he's there trying to sell me a blotto RDA when I want something, really wound down and a real mouth to lung, as we said. I mean, one of my favourite tanks is the Brunhilde. I don't know if anyone...
I've not used that.
A lot of people don't like it because it's so tall, but they've just even made an MTL version of it.
Yeah, I saw that. I've just actually ordered today, which was the thing I was cursing at before the show, Salford, the Gatter, the QP design Gatter mouth to lung and direct lung.
You mean that was the other thing you was cursing at?
Yeah.
Because the other thing was
don't say because it's a secret.
Can I just jump in? James, going back to coils on Mex and the round wire, do you still put a round wire building every now and then?
No.
Well, I do. I still go and do a 0.11 in mine, and I enjoy it.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. For me, for years, I mean, I used hot wires for about 4 years, and I wouldn't use anything else because I found that it gave you fused Clapton taste, but with just round wire. But even then, I've been converted to the dark side.
The dark side.
Well, all I can do is that then.
You know what, Alfred? What I'll do is I'll get Matt to send you a 0.11 or even out of my shop actually, and see what you think because they are really good coils. Really,
he's as reliable as sending stuff about coils as I'm, Salford. So.
Right, yeah, because I asked Simon to tell me what he had in stock, of course, a week ago. I'm still waiting for the email.
It's stuck.
You had another question as well, didn't you?
I did, yeah. James, since we last had you on the show, you've done a hell of a lot of travelling. Hell of a lot.
Yeah,
Can you tell us a little bit about that? I know you was away 2 weeks ago, I think, or the other weekend. Was you in Cologne the other weekend?
Oh, right, okay. Do you know what? Cologne? Right, okay. So we got a big a friend of ours over in Aachen, and he's called Pascal Ring. He's a very close friend of the King's brand, and he's the person who's responsible for this beast and a couple of other patina pieces that I've got an endless. One of the most beautiful patina jobs I've ever seen. So basically, he's doing a 1 year anniversary, and with King's Collection, compared to any other brands, we really do represent our family. So if somebody wants us there, we're there. You know, she said it was a small. Do you know what? There's the other thing that I've got to say. If ever you end up in Germany and you're in the Aachen area, you must visit the shop. This shop has got so much character. It's got such a wide array of parts. I mean, you could buy some €250 billet box doors that I guarantee you would never find anywhere else. I saw a pipe, a handmade pipe. This pipe had a €1,500 price tag on it. Now, don't get me wrong, it's not me. But when you see the workmanship that's involved on it, it's insane. So that was the whole kind of point. We went over, we did the meet, and then the next day we got shown around Aachen. We went to the point where Germany, Holland, and Belgium meet. That was really cool. Where else have we been? So we did a Hall of Vape with the ODB. We did Madrid Vape Expo with ODB again.
If you remember rightly, because if you don't know, I'm on James's page as well. I'm always on it. You went to one expo, but you didn't stay for the expo.
Yeah,
you got to fly back home.
Hall of Vape. So it was my friend's wedding of that weekend. So basically, we'd made an arrangement with some friends of ours that it was my turn to rent the van out and drive the van over. So we transported the stuff, drove down to Brighton, picked up the gear, dropped off somewhere else, travelled on, stopped in Eindhoven for the night, and then cracked on to Stuttgart the next day. Set up the stand, and then I flew home. I had 2 friends that were running the stand, and you know what? Like, I must be the only person who's actually ballsy enough to say it, but Hall of Vape, I really don't rate it as a show. I know a lot of people tell you that it's the fucking pinnacle show and all stuff like this, but for me, and for what it was, I don't know, it just kind of seemed that they put everybody from an English company all on one row.
Was it the layout though that people liked there? I know a lot like the Modders Gallery and what have you there.
The Modders Gallery was insane. From what I heard about Frankenstull aren't, it's not something I'm really interested in, but he was selling raffle tickets at quite a high price for the chance to be able to buy one of his mods.
Right.
He did that at Jam a couple of years back. He did that at Jam, and they were queuing around the corner.
No, don't get me wrong. I did see someone the other day. Someone showed me a Frankenskull loose seal. So it's like a single 18650, and you cannot buy one of these. You are given one as a friend, a personal present. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I had a look on Modmart, and I saw one going for $14,000. And I just can't. Yeah, I don't even have $14,000 in my car. Never mind my vape. You know, and I just don't understand it.
Aren't the 3D plastic most of the Frankenskull stuff?
His early stuff wasn't it? It was all 3D printed.
I actually, if it is 3D printed, it's one of the best 3D printers I've ever seen. Yeah,
it would be for £14,000. That's a hell of a lot of money, isn't it?
I think it's more like laser engraved more than 3D printed.
Right.
Don't hold me on that one. I think there must be different finishes, different styles, lower prices and higher prices. But
yeah, I think he's cheaper end, which is still there, are the 3D printed ones with the hard bottles as well on their scrunchies.
Tell us in chat, would you actually spend £14,000 or dollars on a mod? What would you spend on a mod? Tell us in chat. Also, mate, talking about the Germany one, like I said, a lot of people said about that Modders Gallery, it were brilliant, and they sort of had the juice, and then they had the hardware. I heard a lot of people really enjoyed it, and the expo were having a little look at maybe changing stuff to sort of that way. I know they took the fact of having the music down low, which I liked.
Yeah, very good.
But obviously, it's each to their own, isn't it? I
mean,
do fancy a little trip out
there. For me, I don't know whether it's just from my experiences or anything like that, but the small shows for me have got more character. They seem to do just as well on sales, but not only that, they seem to be. Alright, fair enough. There isn't maybe as much football. You're probably looking at 2,000, maybe 2,500 people that are coming compared to what a Hall of Vape's like near 70,000, right?
70,000.
Don't hold me to that.
Yeah.
I could be procrastinating, but I'm sure it was about 70,000 over 3 days. All paid for tickets as well. And not only that, but from what I heard, the actual tickets to the event sold out. Now, I've never seen a vape show where the actual tickets you can't get. Yeah. Well, I don't know, like, these are my experiences to do with those shows. I'm not saying that everybody that I know had exactly the same. I'm just sort of saying that the Hall of Vape that I saw, there was 2 halls. One hall, no one really went in. The other hall, easy as fuck. And I don't think they really give too much shit about it. They're quite happy to just take your money for finishing for stuff.
They were saying in there, Airsoft Delta, I enjoyed a night in Eindhoven with Jim. I mean, the honeymoon suite we stayed in was lovely. That's always nice to know. I had loads of things. No, don't say it. TVP says he'd not spend that amount of money. He wants it just on strippers, and I won't say the other bit. Dion says no. I think somebody said, Emma says 300 quid max, 130. Yeah, I think 500 says Bill Richards if the mod looked really right. To be honest, I would never spend anywhere close to that amount of money on anything like that. It's not.
A little picture of that.
I'd like to have that sort of money in my bank.
Okay, I don't know if you can really see that, but
yeah, you can get that.
Yeah,
it's really nice that.
$14.54. What the fuck?
Jesus.
Don't get me wrong.
I don't know if it's worth that amount, right? But
Look, the other good thing about that, in comparison to the UK vapors, and this is one thing that is really cool, German people are not afraid to spend decent money on really high-class mods. Some of the other bits that I've seen over there, I mean, there must be, what, £2,500 inside the two mods there. But agreed, they're absolutely beautiful.
yeah.
But this is the thing. Everybody is quite happy to have an expensive piece. You know, it almost seems like over in the UK we're more than happy to have. Well, I think it starts from Smock Aliens and you know what's the new one.
The only problem is if I had a mod like that, I could never take it anywhere.
No, that's the thing.
I'm terrible, especially if I've been on a night out, if I'm working or something like that. If I took anything out of me,
Surely
absolutely bladdered, I'd just leave it.
Surely you have a cheap mod for getting out and getting blooded though.
Yeah, I do, yeah, I have. But the thing is, the way I am, you can never sort of work out which sort of night it's going to turn into. I could be home by 10, but I might not get back home till 5. So, it's the things, yeah, but I don't know when I'd take it out.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree.
It's a lot of money to be invested into a mod.
I hate to say it, but I'm one of these kind of finicky people, especially after this 2 weeks. I don't touch nicotine anymore. I'm free of nicotine imprisonment. So if I'm going out, I don't need to take a mech with me.
No.
I don't mean to be that smam cunt who sits there. Fuck you.
Bomb.
But I tell you something. It is really nice to actually be free for once. I know I didn't mean to fucking give up nicotine, but it happened.
But that's the thing. I think I've said this before. I vaped for a week. I got a juice that I thought I'd nicked, and I hadn't nicked, and I was vaping it for a week without knowing. Never realised that there was no nick in it until when I changed to something else with a bottle with nick in it. I nearly fell on the fucking floor and I started vaping it.
I had a drop of 20 milligram yesterday by accident.
Mm.
Oh man, I thought I was going to pass out.
I'll tell you what, I vape between 0 and 20 milligrams. I could, honestly, sometimes, you know, if you're having a stressful day, I quite like a nick salt in mouth tongue or in a pod system. You know, think, oh, I could just do a bit of a nit. Sometimes I can just, it's like your juice I've got in here. I won't nick that. I'll use that quite happily without any nick in it at all. And then my normal one is roughly around about 3 milligrams. That's what I'm normally at.
Yeah.
But it all depends on. I can, to be honest with you, I can wake up in the morning and not vape until maybe dinner time. I'm not one of these who needs to vape all the time.
Yeah.
Just going back to that, Airsoft Vapor, was it? I take it that's Danny Watt. Yeah, he was the person who was with me, and not only that, but it was him and Martin who looked after the stand for me while I flew home to come to a friend's wedding. I know where my principal's like, I'm going to a friend's wedding. I'm not going to not go for a vape show. But in the exact same respect, I've got to say a massive thank you to those fellas for what they did. It wasn't easy for them. It was massively stressful. Don't get me wrong. It's easy for me because I know what's involved and how much work there is. But for these two guys who just sort of said, yeah, I'm fine, we'll do it. Yeah, cool. And then it was like, wow.
It's not as easy as it looks.
Talking to Juice James, what's the flavour profile on this? Because I'm just vaping it now for the first time.
Don't tell him. Don't tell him.
Why is it called chicken?
Don't tell him. Don't tell him.
We've got a very good relationship with Nameless Malt. There are brothers, whether they like it or not, but still. And we've been friends for a long time. And not only that, we've really got on as friends. So one of their sort of trademarks is the whole cheese thing. It used to be just a speech thing, but now it seems to have gone into the branding. So when we did a partnership, Alex really liked. Can I say the flavour? Yeah.
No, don't tell him. Let him try it first and see whether he gets it.
Yeah, strictly blue cheese, mate. Yeah, proper.
That's what I thought.
But yeah, I'll wait until you try it before we talk about the
I'm
rest.
trying it now. I've been vaping it for the last 10 minutes.
Should we all have a vape on it? Let's get me mix.
Well, you to be honest, you saying that about you didn't quite get it first off, did you?
I didn't get it at all, and I've spoke to James about this.
I'm not trying to blow my own trumpet, but I got it straight away. Obviously, it's a butterscotch, and it's quite nice, isn't it?
I say it tastes like a Werther's original. That's what it tastes like
It's
to
really
me.
nice.
That's what we kind of went for. I mean, from what I hear from a lot of people, one guy I spoke to, he's done a litre of juice already since we released it. I couldn't believe it. And he says, the more bottles I do, the better it tastes. And I'm kind of sat there going, yeah, but surely, like, you get halfway down the first bottle, surely it's not going to taste anything better than that. And he goes, no, honestly, it really does get better and better and better with time.
It's not overly sweet either.
No.
You know, you get some butterscotches and they're quite sickly. This isn't overly sickly, is it? It's quite a nice butterscotch.
That's it with James's juice. So none of them have been over sweetened, and they're a sort of sweet cream anyway, so they don't need the extra sweetener in. And I think that's where you're getting your sweetness from in your juices, isn't it? Really. Yeah.
I mean, with the cream side of things as well, we tried to not use as much sweetener as such. So we tried to use naturally sweet concentrates as they were. So we forgot the sweetener back. So, especially the raspberry cream, I found this concentrate while away in Germany, and it was just meant to be. That was all it was. It was just meant to be.
I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll go on to the Shamrock, which we've got in there.
Just before we go on that, it tastes better now. I've not had a packet of cheese and onion crisps 20 minutes before.
It always tastes better. Sat down there with a block of cheese and one of those cocktail sticks and an onion underneath it.
Do you know what? Honestly, when I was at Vapor Expo, someone told me a story, right? And I still don't know whether I believe this or not. But guy walks into a shop and says, "Oh, can I have a bottle of OG, please?" He says, "Yeah, sound." So he pays the money. He takes the lid off, pops the lid, he downs it. "Cheers, kid. Right, I'm off." And I'm sat there going, "What? He drank it?" And he was like, "Yeah, he drank it straight down." I went, "Oh man!" And did you tell him what he was doing to himself? And he was like, "Well, it had no nicotine in it, and it's got the same flavours in it. So yeah, I'll have had a shits for a few days, but just." And I just kind of thought, I was shocked.
Was he on smack?
Probably.
What type of people walk into a vape shop and go, I'll have one of them?
In the first year of Rydale, probably 6.5 years ago, I had a bloke come in and buy a 10ml bottle of 24 milligram back then. And he says, "Do you mind if I put it in here?" And I went, Yeah, you crack on, mate, yeah. He rolled a rollie, and he dabbed juice on the end. And then rolled the rollie up, and I was sat there going, "You do realise what you're doing to yourself there, mate, don't you?" And he was like, "Oh yeah, love it, mate. Absolutely love it." And I just had to explain everything to him, put it in layman's terms, and he still was like...
So he got a bottle of Nick?
No, a bottle of 24 milligrams, so like back when 24 milligram was allowed, he would roll a rollie and dab a bit on his tobacco, and then carry on rolling, and I just kind of sat there like...
Flavoured tobacco.
Do you realise what you're fucking doing?
Jesus Christ. Yeah, if it's a rollie as well.
Airsoft Delta, those tissue... Right, okay. When we were in...
Have we all tried this now? The Shamrock.
I'm trying. This is so nice. This is so nice.
Well, I reckon we're all right. This is a definitely an after 8 taste, or before 9 if you like.
Do you know what the funny part of it is? Everyone thinks it's got chocolate in it.
It does taste like it's got chocolate in it.
However,
do you know what it's more like to me? It's like a Murray mint. That's what it tastes more like to me.
To me, it tastes like a Viscount biscuit with cookies.
A what biscuit?
Viscount. Remember Viscount?
Yeah, it does.
No,
it does.
Yeah, it does a bit, doesn't it?
Biscuit.
Is that the one that used to get in the silver paper in the bar?
In the green
It was a
paper.
green foil paper, wasn't it?
Green
foil paper,
foil. Yeah.
To be
But
honest,
it does taste like it's got chocolate in it.
it does, yeah, it tastes like
You're
sort of
into
like
that.
a dark chocolate, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I also got a little bit of like a minty custard as well, if I'm honest with you.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That's for me why it stiffs. It's like a
Like
Murray
the
mint.
mint cream.
The funniest part of it is we don't actually use a mint. I can't tell you what we put in it, but we don't use a mint. We use something else that's got mint in it.
No, it
Well, I
won't
was
work.
hoping it had got Guinness in it. That's why I went and got a Guinness. I thought it'd
Guinness plus today. Sounds
might
right.
curdle a bit, but I quite like that. Again, that is really nice. I know a couple of people actually commented on when we put up the post about that they love the Shamrock.
Nice. Very nice.
Yeah, really, really nice. And I've tried the raspberry before. That is really nice as well. I haven't got that in anything at the minute, but that is really nice as well.
Well, I have, and I'm going to use it. Have you got something, Simon?
Sorry, what?
You got it in anything?
No, I haven't at the minute. No, I've got a.
Right.
I think it was. I'm not sure it was a pre-release bottle.
See, James, I do all three. Just saying.
Check that out.
Just
We're
saying.
sat at home all day. We're not. Big shout out to Bill. Bill says the Shamrock is a killer. Tried the peppermint custard to me.
Yeah.
Sorry, I've got my mouse thing over it. I tried it. Peppermint custard to me. Gorgeous.
Yeah, good to see you.
Have you got some of that in the shop, James?
I won't lie to you, brother.
Oh,
I've got one bottle.
keep it.
All right.
Thank you.
Just,
If anybody needs
just
to
like
get,
that, have we got any discount codes that we might be able to have there, James?
I will tell you at the minute. If you go to UK USA, I'll give them a call. That's probably the easiest thing. And if you give them the code, Jimmy D is fucking amazing. They'll give you 2 for 30.
There you go.
2 120 mil.
Jimmy D is effing amazing.
Literally got to go up Vape Boutique and go, Jimmy D's fucking amazing! Or else you're not getting your discount.
Can I let people know what this actually tastes like?
So the raspberry, a lot of my juices have sort of like sentimental things behind them. So raspberry was kind of like a celebration of my daughter. He's a big fan of like Petit Falou and other kind of raspberry sweets and stuff like that. So that was when I kind of sat there and I went, yeah, raspberry cream. That's right. That is in ode to my daughter. So
This is a raspberry ripple, isn't it? It really is. Raspberry ripple.
Hang on a minute. Right, so you're doing juices that are family related, so there's some sort of
family.
Right, so shall we talk about what your nickname is and one juice that you haven't released yet?
Yeah, but I can't do it, mate. I can't do a strawberry custard, and I can't do if anything, if I was going to do a strawberry juice, it would have to be a strawberry cream. But trying to find a strawberry concentrate that hasn't been done to death in the world of concentrates, it would you would try it and you would tell me straight away, oh, that's like somebody else's juice, and that's exactly why I haven't done it.
So your nickname's Strawberry?
That is it. My last name is Drawbridge, and apparently if you say Drawbridge quite a few many times, it starts to sound like Strawbridge. But to be 100% honest, I've had that nickname since I was like 4 years old, 25 years.
This is Strawberry. It's a good job I don't name anything after my son, because it'd have to be Breeze Block or something like that.
One of the funniest things from the last year that I'll never forget, we were in Madrid on the ODB stand, right? And IVG decided to throw a few bottles out. And we decided to throw a few bottles out. So we decided to put a few 10 mils on the desk, and people were just grabbing them. Like, it was like, oh, well, fuck it. If it's what they want, we'll give them free stuff. I thought it was 4:30. It was 1:30 on the Sunday, and I'd literally thrown out all my juice and was like, yeah, fuck it, let's go to the bar. Yeah, nice one. And then it wasn't as late as I thought it was. And a guy came up to me and he says, have you got any hats left? Have you got any hats left? And I went, no. And he goes, what about the one on your head? And I went, mate, I'm not being funny or anything. I've been in Madrid for 3 days. I have sweat an unreal amount. You do not want this hat. And he goes, no, it's okay. Don't worry about it. I was so shocked. I just had to say, do you know what? You take it, man. You really got it.
Put a sweaty hat on.
But he got it. He was well happy, and that's all that mattered.
That's it, Alan. I'm so sorry we haven't really spoke that much to chat. It's so nice that you're all in there. But obviously we've had a lot to talk about. It's been a corking show. Thanks so much, Orions, for looking after chat for us, buddy. But yeah, it's a sweaty hat he's walking around with.
But I really hope he washed it. I really, really hope he
You were
washed it.
walking around with it straight away afterwards. The freebie hunters, I absolutely love you. I remember, I can't remember what stall it was, but walking past, I was filming it. They were throwing battery boxes out. People were wrestling people for a plastic battery box.
Was it Vapor Expo like 2 or 3 years ago? Custom Vape wearing a Suburban Innovations mech, and somebody jumped over somebody in a wheelchair, landing straight on them to grab this mech.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck this is mine. Like, no, you just landed on someone, bro. We didn't give them it.
I think as well, I think the same woman had a load of, it might have been a different woman, somebody in a wheelchair, they had a load of stuff nicked as well, and everybody sort of gave her the stuff back in the community.
I really do. That's the one thing about this industry that really negs me out at the minute. There's no community feel. You know, on the groups and all stuff like this, there is. In the actual, when it comes to expos and stuff, if I'm next to a company, the first thing that I'm going to go do is go meet the company and say, how's it going, guys? You all right? Or stuff like this. This last year, nobody wanted to speak to anybody. You know, it was almost like it was war.
Yeah, that's not good.
No.
I will always say about this, the vape community, they do come together when they're needed. There's been thousands and thousands raised on charity nights, 24-hour streams and stuff like that. Auctions for all brilliant sets of charities that's been done. The community, and then you've got the other side of it where it's not so good, like what you said there. Nobody wants to talk. It's like you against them.
Yeah.
There's just one thing that has to come up. Like I don't really know what I think about this yet. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but it pains me to talk about it. The Vaping Boxing League. And originally, I think it was set to start out for like a white collar situation.
I've never even heard of that.
It must be pretty new, but you'll hear about it over the next couple of days now, I promise. And basically, can you imagine that there's a rivalry within the industry and it wants sorting publicly? They're giving people the chance to fight each other. And
that's not a good advertisement for the industry, is it?
No.
Sulphur Jack, we can do it.
Me and you?
Yeah, we'll do it.
Yeah. I can fly down in my wheelchair.
What's the next thing they're going to be doing? At least I'm going to say about mud wrestling, but you could provide the custard instead.
We've done that already, me and Simon. We don't need to go back there.
So you weren't supposed to say anything, Salford.
This is one of the other things, like with the industry at the moment. Where is it going to go? I mean, essentially, like cigarette companies are pouring more and more money into ruining our beautiful little industry. Obviously, Trump's got money invested in big tobacco, so obviously he's trying to use his influence to try and influence as much bullshit as he can. Unfortunately, this bullshit seems to be spreading worldwide. Yeah. My father-in-law had booked a holiday to Goa. A week before he went, he gets a letter from British Airways saying that you're not allowed to vape there anymore. And it's like a blanket ban. From what I understand, I think cigarettes have been annulled as well. All vaping, smoking, lozenges, patches have all been banned. Now, obviously, it's an Indian country, so it'd be pretty easy to get when you were there. But obviously, as a customs issue, it didn't make any sense to me. It didn't make any sense whatsoever. From what I understand, Holland's just gone 10 mil as well, even if a lot of their vaping is based around aroma bottles. So basically, just a 10 mil bottle full of concentrate, they drop into something else and add the base and nicotine. We can't have anything more than 10 mil though.
I'm feeling that us over here in the UK, that obviously when this election's over and all the Brexit and bits and bobs, they're going to relook at it, and hopefully they're going to, obviously with everything about plastics and the ocean and all that, I think they might go back to the 30 mil. It was nice to see over the weekend as well that they had a big, obviously massive rally in DC. Lots and lots of people turned up there. By what sort of feel I'm getting from over there is that they're going to up the age of vaping in America, and they're going to stop convenience stores selling stuff, and they're going to put it more on the bricks and mortar. They
have said, I don't know if it's true or not.
You're going to look at the nick level as well, aren't they?
Yeah.
I've kept seeing posts on Facebook, and I've not had the time to go and look at them, saying that the CDC have now said that it's definitely THC in all the samples that they've had. It's definitely THC. So
well, doctors all around the world are coming out and saying, well, the lying, you should have said this from the first. Every one of them look at the data, and every one of them's come back with THC in.
Yeah.
And obviously we've had that. And one big thing I'm going to say to people as well is we've obviously had the story come out about the young lad. Stop sharing it on Facebook, people. If you want to share it, take a screenshot of it and then put it on there. Don't share the links, because then what you're doing is you're pushing it more up on the analytics and it's going to show more up on Facebook. Don't share it. Just make a screenshot of it and put it on. It does me head in, because you're just fueling it. The more we share it, the more it's fueled. Don't do it. But obviously, it were 2 years previous that he'd had all these problems.
I mean, one of the main fundamental things to remember about America is that their research is done by tobacco companies and financed by tobacco companies. In the UK, our research is done by Public Health England and the MHRA. Yeah. Do you believe?
And Cancer Research UK.
Well, the only thing is with Cancer Research UK, like, I'm not the biggest fan of them, I won't lie. I'm not biggest fan of UK charities, if I'm brutally honest, because in the UK, it's totally legal for you to take 95% of your profits from your charity game and only give 5%. I would love to see how many actual companies and what they actually give. I mean,
well, I'll tell you the trick. that charities do over there, right? Because the non-profit organisations, if they start to make a profit, they up the wages. I know, because I've worked for charities.
Okay.
I don't like these people that knock on your door and say, can you... Obviously, we all know my wife suffered from cancer, and she still goes through the stuff from after it. Yep. And we support our own ways of doing it. My wife takes, every time she goes to Western Park in Sheffield, she takes a big box of, like the little toiletries and toothpaste, because when people are going through the chemotherapy and stuff like that, they forget taking these basics. And obviously you can't have the big ones because everybody can't use them. So she takes a big box of that and people bring it over. Plus we do charity stuff for Macmillan and that. But these people who knock on your door and say, will you make a donation every month? They're getting a wage out of that. They're not doing that out of the goodness of their heart. So it's...
No.
If someone came to me with a story, and not necessarily a story, but something that actually tugged on my heartstrings, and someone said that was directly linked to me, or maybe not even directly linked to me, directly linked to a friend. Jimmy, will you help? I'll help where I can, or I'll do everything I possibly can. Yeah. But essentially, some guy stopping me down the street, exactly what you said, trying to get me to give £5 or £10 per month. You usually reach in the pocket and get a couple of quid out just so they fuck off.
Yeah.
That's not good enough anymore. Now they're willing to pay that. I remember years ago, I had a charity payment when I worked at a factory, and the factory was late paying me. And I got a £45 bank charge on a £1.25 charity donation. And I just kind of sat at that point and thought...
Halifax did that with me for a 50p charity donation every month. When my money went in late, they charged me 10 quid.
And this is exactly it. This is exactly it. This is the one thing that... like, a lot of people kind of think that, obviously, you see someone homeless at the side of the street, they think a good idea is to go buy him a pasta and a cup of coffee or give him some money. No. Give him 10 minutes of your time. Listen to his story. Listen to what he's got to say. And this is the one thing that really... see how you can actually help. Contributing towards someone's problem by giving them 20 quid so they can go get a crack box, that's not going to help.
No, a lot of the problem with the homeless now is that they're all on the ice. There's dealers waiting for them there and now. We've got, I don't know about where you are or anybody else, we've got a massive spice epidemic. It's obviously it's a synthetic, it was supposed to be like marijuana. And they're just, and I'll tell you what, I've said it before on the show, how they can stay in that position where they're just crouched and the trousers around like that. Yeah, I could not stand there for that long, forever. But like you said, nowadays there's that many places that are giving out food, and also they can get shelter and stuff like that. They don't have to actually be sat there, majority of them. I know people have different circumstances and they live in the cars and stuff like that, but majority is just because they've got a drug habit and they don't want to get any better.
This is the one thing that I see. My approach, I know we're kind of going away from vaping here a little bit, but my approach to the Class A drug epidemic, not necessarily spice as such, but say for instance heroin and crack. I just think it's badly managed mental health care. You know, these guys never had a chance. These guys thought it was their only way out. You know, the only way to kind of...
I think it's been said a long time that obviously over the years mental health has got worse, especially going from the late 80s up all the way through to now. I think the pressures of life, I think the cost of life, I think a lot of stuff that you get in the media, I think, to me, families aren't the same as what they used to be. I think there's a lot of trouble in between, and people get lost up in that, and they get lost. And once they're on that downward spiral, it's very hard for them to come back out.
Yeah. I've got ears for anybody. You know, anyone who's going... I used to do a thing on a Sunday morning, just basically saying that, look, if anybody wants to talk, it's sometimes easier to talk to somebody that you don't know. It's purely confidential. I'll even buy you the coffee. No one turned up. I think, in fact, no, I had one person in the 12 weeks that I did it. I still go to the coffee every Sunday with my daughter, and if anybody came up and asked to speak to me, that's what I'm here. You know? And this is the one thing that really got me, is you reached out a hand for people to reach out to you, and no one cared.
No, they're more bothered sitting there. I went to Leeds the other week with a friend of mine, and we went to have a beer and a walk round, and every lamppost there was somebody on it in a sleeping bag with a little jar. And just as you come out of the station, there's a Witherspoons, and we sat there on the window and we were just watching. And this kid with that off his face, he'd got a tie wrap to the actual lamppost, tied it round him so he didn't actually fall off it. And the amount of people who was walking to the station and dropping money in there, he must have made, within that hour we were there, 30 quid, 40 quid.
Wow.
So he's got a tie wrap round him, big sleeping bag, he's half asleep, hanging off there. And the amount of people that just walked there dropped it. And he carried on walking down the main street, where the shopping centre is and all that. It was scattered. There must have been 40, 50 of them, just all next to a lamppost.
So for me, there's two good points in chat, and I'm sort of listening, and some of it I agree with, some of it I don't, and I think for me it's dangerous to generalise and say that everybody's like that. But Gailey raises the point: there's an assumption that homeless people have substance abuse issues. Not at all. Not all do. There are homeless now due to austerity. The more homeless now due to austerity than there's ever been. And then Leader Geordie Vape said, I work with the homeless, and a lot of it's down to mental health, and then the drugs and alcohol follow that, and that for me is, you know, how much of that is the case. So that, because you get into a situation where you're homeless, you've got no hope, you've got nothing to, you know, alcohol, I suppose anybody, even people who aren't homeless, get down in the doldrums, and that's the first thing you turn to. Right, what's something I can lean on? It might be alcohol, it might be drugs, and just going back to the mental health thing, you know, counselling services in the UK are just horrendous. You've got mental health problems, you try to get counselling, you put on a 6-month waiting list.
Yeah,
doctors want to just, you know, churn out tablets, go and take those. The best option by 1,000 miles is counselling, and people can't get it. They can't get it quickly enough.
Obviously, we know that I suffer from bipolar, and I've had this since I was 19-year-old. The biggest thing that I always found, and I'm off with my medication, I manage my ups and downs. What I had a problem with is when you've got problems like this, when you want to talk to somebody, you've got to be able to link with them. You've got to sort of have this connection so you can open your heart up and you get that two-way conversation going, and you can sort of work forward. I was swapped and changed. So one week I'd see one person and then he'd probably leave. And I remember the last person I saw, she was, not her fault, she was probably a really, really nice lady. But she was from like Bolivia or something like that. She didn't even understand English properly. So I'm trying to tell her my story all over again and trying to work something out. And I couldn't just connect. Yeah. And I think that's the biggest thing when you've got mental health. You need to connect to somebody to be able to...
And you need consistency as well.
Yeah.
So, as you say, you need that consistent, you know, approach, or that consistent contact all the way through the process, not different people.
Yeah.
But yes, you're totally right. It's not all to do with drugs and alcohol. I think that's sort of an end product. You do get them people that are just like it.
Yeah. It's a shame, but...
We did have Tent City. I know it's opened up over a number of places where they found little lands, especially this time of year when it's absolutely freezing, where they all got tents and they all live together. Then the council comes across and moves them out. It was a big thing here a couple of years back.
Do you know, I did a thing when I used to work security probably about 5 years ago, and it was called Operation Walk Here. and it was during the start of the student freshers season. And basically, it was like security guards would go out with police officers, basically just to provide support and just
Sorry.
not maybe quality of their level of work. And this police officer said something to me that I still don't really agree with, but he said that homeless is a thing of the past. And I sat there and I went, how can you say that? And he went, well, they all have places, but they all choose to come to the city centre to get leggers, to go see their friends. Okay. But then they don't want to go home, so they call the police and say, like, oh, I'm going to kill myself or whatever. So they get sectioned for a night, and then they get taken home. Then they come back and do exactly the same. And I sat there and I said, how can you say that, mate? It's easy for you to put behind a uniform, but how are you really helping? You know?
Mm.
I just didn't get it. But anyway, one thing I will say is we are getting sidetracked away from vaping. Oh, I don't want to go more of the,
just to go off on one of the sidetrack before we do, Aidan. Obviously, you're down in an area of the world at the minute that's underwater. You've avoided that.
It's been an absolute nightmare. Now, if anybody's actually seen the news and you've seen Bentley on there, where the flooding is literally less than a mile up the road. It's a few hundred yards up the road. And then on the other side as well. What's he doing?
I'm doing advertising while you're talking about the flooding.
Oh, God. It sort of turned into some little late outside here now to show you.
I get the thing disgusted. I have.
Just down at the bottom, that's where they're flooded as well. So they actually send you a telephone call. They ring you up and tell you you're actually on massive flood alert. So since last Thursday, I'm up every night. I've been checking the Don, and we've got I would say a couple of dikes back. You can't say.
You don't want to know what your next door neighbour.
So we've got a couple of things down on that side that fill up as well. So you have to keep checking. The biggest it's got is up to the top of the curb here. Now, in my room, everything's been took upstairs. I've had to bring my lights back down, but the settee's been on top of everywhere in there. We've all been living upstairs thinking it's going to come. And there's still a chance. We're still on major flood warning. Now, talking about the government, them poor people up there and in Fish Lake as well, nobody came and helped them. The services that did help them, the fire services and the rescue services were absolutely fantastic, but there was nothing there for help. Community Spirit did it here in Bentley. People got together, they went down and sent cleaning stuff, they helped them all out. Even my kids went down and took some bleach, mops and buckets, just little bits that you can help with. So the Community Spirit helped that. The government did absolutely shit all. There were no like emergency van there giving food out. It was down to the community to do it.
I was watching something on the local news and they were saying that the council wouldn't even send out lorries to pick up the rubbish the stuff that people had to take out of the houses because it was absolutely knackered.
No skips.
They wouldn't send out lorries because of the logistics or something. It was just ridiculous.
They ran out of sand. So if they wanted to fill the sandbags, they had no sand. And I said to my wife, we've got Cleethorpes an hour away from us. Why didn't they think, when they knew it was coming and the banks were going to burst, why didn't they just send a load of vans all the way to Cleethorpes, take a load of sand and bring it back?
There you go.
It's that simple. Somebody make a decision. But they ran out of sand, so these people didn't even have sandbags. And the ones where it was coming on afterwards, you got the main streets that were near the Don, and then after that, they had no sand for them, no sandbags.
Crazy.
We asked for sandbags, we rang up and said, sorry, we've run out of everything. So they've put us on massive flood alert, and you think, well, I'll tell you what we'll do is we'll get some sandbags down to you. No. And that's the country we live in. And you think about mental health. Like somebody sat down there and you can't really get insurance for these houses because they've been flooded in 2007. You've got to either, they won't insure you or you've got to pay through the nose. So if you've got a normal bog standard family who can't really afford that, they're just completely wiped out now before Christmas.
Yeah. And one of the things that really makes me a bit nervous these days, and one thing that I really wish to put a lot of time into, is that our police forces are so undermanned, and not that, but underfunded, and especially it's not only just the police, it's the police, health services, and everything involved with it. Personally, in my life, that's what I want money invested in. I don't really give a fuck about my local council. In fact, so I live in Rydale. Yeah.
So do I.
And but all the car parks are governed by Scarborough. What the fuck? That's got nothing to do with fucking Scarborough. We're 30 miles away, man.
Even the police come from Scarborough, don't they now? There's gone are the day. I remember the days, and well, I'm 51 now, so I remember when I was in my 20s. You go out on a night on the town. I'm from Pickering, which is just down the road. You go out on a night, and there was bobbies walking the beat all night. They were out there. Everyone was people turfing out. They were all stuck. They'd stop and they'd talk to the bobbies that were out on the beat. Yeah. And there was a good community. You had good community police officers. Now there's nothing. You don't see a bobby walking around the street, even on push bikes. Even around Moulton at one point, James, there was bobbies on. I can't remember what he was called now, but on his push bike riding round during the day.
The thing is, they're militarised now. They're not like the police force they used to be. They're more like an army. They've more got that training.
Yeah, but you see, I watched this traffic cops thing. You see all this police out there at the minute. They've all got these like bloody spiky hairdos and fancy thing. All not that I'm saying they shouldn't do that, but it seems to be all about police is fashionable now rather than.
Well, one thing I've got to say is I've got a massive shout out to the police. A lot of people have got different views on the police and such, but I just want you to think about their actual job, especially Manchester and Doncaster. Not all of that, but you're getting a call to attend an issue. You have no idea what it could be at risk.
But that's exactly my point, and it's not. I do have an issue with police all dressed up, but the numbers and everything else for me isn't down to them. It's down to cost cutting all the time.
Yeah.
Moulton Police Station. You had there was. I used to go in there. I didn't used to go because I've been in it too, so I was a special constable back in the day. But that Moulton Police Station on a Friday and Saturday night, you had about a dozen police officers in there. And
well, you had a local police station, didn't you?
Well, yeah, all the villages.
Now, they've been sold.
Yeah, all the villages had a police house, didn't they? They all had a community police officer.
And obviously, we all watch the programmes. A lot of the police now are dealing with mental health problems. A lot of it, they go into an house where somebody's got a mental health problem, or they've got a problem with a child with autism, which is a big thing, and stuff that they've got as well with it. And a lot of the problem, they're dealing with a lot of that mental health problems. Because there isn't any funding for the mental health, there's nowhere for things to get sorted. And like you said, there's nobody on the streets walking. I remember you had your bobby, they'd be out all the time.
I never thought I'd ever say this, but I remember as a teenager being harassed by the police just for walking down the street or grouping with 5 or 10 friends.
Yeah, what you doing?
Exactly. This is what it was up to him, obviously, being a teenager, wanting to go drink my cider in the cemetery. What do you want? And then get my pockets searched out and all stuff like this. And you had a relationship of where you plain just didn't like each other. Funny enough that when that person grows up and then becomes 30, he then needs the police.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, there's less funding.
When I was a kid, though, you had respect for the police, because if the police
exactly that was
and
my
said
point.
that they'd done that, you'd get a crack off your dad or your mum, you'd be in trouble. But nowadays, what they do there, and it's like now they've took it away that you can't smack your children. The thing what they do is they stand there and they go, "Well, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? What's he going to do? You copper, gangster rappy and all this sort of stuff." It doesn't help.
As much as you didn't like the police, there was still a respect there for them. You were still, and that's gone. There's none of that anymore. Again, watching traffic cops, things like that, you just see the abuse that they get, the comments that they get. It's just horrendous.
Who's sitting up in a fire engine to put a fire out? It's going to get pelted with stones.
No.
Yeah. Now, you brought the fire service up, and the fire service is actually the service that's most under threat. They're closing down more fire stations across the country than anything else.
Sorry, DE, I will get to you about your juice, buddy.
Massively under threat.
It is. You then go to ambulances, the poor nurses and everybody else like that. I can't understand a country that's sending, and again, I'm up for helping everybody, but you're sending billions away for aid and helping other countries. We need to start spending it here.
Yes. Yeah. Help us first.
Help us first, and then if we've got a bit left, then help them.
Fucking right.
True Vape has just raised a good point, actually. Just said, little brave is in my job, there's a place that deals with the police and the fire brigade, and they speak to them for mental health. That's a sign, isn't it, of how badly things are going.
It is. Yeah.
Grizzly Vapor says, "Hey up, lads! Banana custard is on fire. That is
It is. I've not got it here. I've got the lemon. If you want a real good custard, and I mean a real good custard, you've got to get the OG.
Yeah, OG is the
OG is so
downfall. It
good.
really is.
It's so good.
Mhm.
That's another 10-year-old, man.
But I'll tell you something though. You know, you've just talked about us, the flooding here. Where's somewhere another country that we send money to start clubbing around and going, I'll tell you what, we need to send some money over to England to help these people who are flooded. And I'll tell you what, there's families devastated here. There's absolutely, and we're not talking about a little tiny bit of water. We're on about it's come up to here.
Yeah. And all the damage that causes to the foundations, to the walls themselves. Gets over the damp-proof course, rises up, causes more problems.
Just before Christmas as well, yeah, it's very, very sad.
And all, I mean, we had it here, didn't we, in Salford? 2 years back, was it? Where Broughton, the River Irwell burst its bank. And it took ages to get it all sorted out. And people was in homes with no plaster on the wall, with dryers in for about 8 months just to dry the walls out.
I bet you'd be all right though. What are you, about 16 floors up?
I'm on the 6th floor, but I'm on top of an hill as well, aren't I? So you get out here well from me.
The one thing I will say.
If it up to me, it's flooding the whole lot right across the Pennines if it gets to my height.
The one thing I will say, James, is our council. So the rain was forecast, wasn't it? The Met Office alerts came in. Was it last Wednesday, Thursday, something like that? And our council had the pumps out in the road. Even though it missed us, it sort of seemed to do a skirt down the country and missed us completely. But they had the pumps out ready to go just in case. So they were there on the side of the road.
Just another thing as well. We're talking about the services that we used to have and stuff like that. I remember they used to come and pump your drain. They used to come around the drains, didn't they, with that big white van and get a big hoover or whatever, suck all the crap out of it, your leaves and all the silt and stuff. They don't do that hardly now.
They don't sweep the streets around us anymore. We don't have street sweepers anymore. They've gone. They don't cut the verges, the grass verges by the side of the road. They're not doing it. Farmers have to do that themselves now.
A lot of councils now, because of all the cuts they've had, one of the first things to go was the gardeners who used to cut the grass and look after the parks and everything else. And that's why the parks are in such a mess as well now throughout the country.
Is that not part of the whole privatisation thing though? Because too many people were putting in lawsuits against the government, they decided to outsource a hell of a lot more services. So basically, it was the personal companies that got to sue instead of the government, so it was costing less money.
Yeah, well, they did that with the bin services, didn't they? They put them all out to tender, you know.
Yeah. One thing I completely forgot about, I've got a little giveaway planned. I don't know if you guys are in for that.
Oh, that'd be absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do is we're not going to run it just while the show's on. We leave it for an extra 24 hours?
Yeah, no problem.
Just before you start, Chris, I am not a mank. I am a Salfordian. Stop winding me up. True Vapor, winding me up.
I can get plenty more names than that.
Yeah, I had 7 off you before we even started.
James, how do you want to do this giveaway? How do you want to do it?
I have a box, an incredibly large, full of juice. I know exactly how much is in that box. So does my distributor because it's going out to him tomorrow, but he's not allowed to enter. If you can guess correctly, or the nearest guess wins all 10 of our juices.
And where are they going to put this on? Are they going to put it on our site, or where do you want it?
That's what you've upset him now, Ed.
Because he's done a walk.
There's the box.
Oh my God.
So what you've got to do, people, you've got to guess how many bottles of juice are in that box. Where are we going to be sending the actual numbers to? Where do you want it to be sent?
Put it in the comments.
That is absolutely fantastic. So people, in the comments of this video, put it down, and what we're going to do, leave it for 24 hours.
Yeah, I reckon that's a good idea.
So we're on Wednesday now, so I'll tell you what, we'll draw it Friday.
Perfect.
We'll draw it Friday. I might even do it live. We'll do it as a live draw and show everybody how it's all working, so they know it's above board. So people, after this, so you want to put it in the comments once the video's up. Make sure you go and stick it down. So if you're watching this on the replay, normally you don't get a chance to enter the giveaways. You have got a chance to win the full range, all 10 flavours, isn't it?
All 10.
All 10. And there's some beautiful juice in there, people.
That is.
So get it stuck down in the comments what you think the number is in that box.
I'll show the box one more time.
Did I say I'm coming up to the shop tomorrow, James?
We can lift it.
That is the box, ladies and gentlemen. The video's roughly up about half an hour after this, so you can be able to stick it down in the comments as well. That's fantastic. Thank you so much for that, brother. I appreciate it. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you one more question. Is there anything else in the pipeline? Have you got anything new coming that you might be able to...
I can't tell you that.
Can't you just give us maybe a little hint if there's anything?
Okay, so springtime we've got the King's Fruits coming out.
Ooh.
And obviously there's going to be an icy approach to it as well. We're just currently working on tobacco custard as well for those people who want a tobacco custard. It's not me. I'm having to completely relearn how to make juice to adapt for tobacco.
Tobacco custard?
Yeah.
That'll be one for me, like, but I'll be interested to try it.
The only thing is, regards tobacco and me and tobacco juices, it depends because there's two sort of fashions. If you imagine one be a tobacco predominant custard, so the custard would take a back step, and the tobacco would be the predominant part. But in vice versa, the other part would be predominantly custard with a little bit of tobacco. So it's not going to be as simple as what we first thought. So yeah.
As well as you're going to have to work out what type of tobacco you're going to be using. You know, what's going to be... I would imagine you'd need a mellow tobacco, not something that's going to be massively harsh.
Like that, not South America, but Southern Northern America, that kind of sweet tobacco.
Yeah.
Like an American Red?
Yeah, something like that, yeah. Salt as well, that is the next, that is the next thing. I'll tell you guys, OG custard, off the rails, and shamrock custard were the first three to go into salt. 10 and 20, I think. Also going to give people the opportunity for 0 milligram and also 10 mil 70-30s for the countries that can't have short fills and such. But so yeah,
here first, people.
Yeah.
There you go. So yeah, keep your eyes bright. I don't want to put a time date on it because we did first talk about the salts last January. So, yeah, we've been a bit busy and things have been going on, but yeah, that's the next thing to get on with. And let's just see where we go. Also, in the competition, I'll throw a t-shirt and a hat in as well. We have just got some female t-shirts as well. So
is it a sweaty hat, James?
No. It's a fresh.
Sweaty hat ones are extra.
I was going to say, if you want a sweaty, I can wear it for a day.
Yeah.
So don't forget, people, if you're watching this on the replay, you've got until Friday. And people who are here, the show's roughly up about half an hour's time. Get them comments on there and make sure you put in a like. Even if you don't like it, put a thumbs down. We don't mind. It's all the analytics. If you like the show, put a thumbs up. If you don't, put a thumbs down. Also, stick them numbers in that comment section. How many bottles are in there? You get a chance to win there 10 flavours and also a cap and a t-shirt. What more can we ask? And also, if it's a lady, you get a ladies' t-shirt.
I'm sure we've got some other bits to throw in as well. I'm sure we can dig out a hit flask and some stickers and all that shit. So we'll
what a giveaway. What an absolute
Can I enter?
Of course you can, because you don't know the answer. So yeah, of course you can.
I've no idea what the answer is anyway. Me estimating that.
You've
miles out.
You've not got a chance, Salford, because I'm up to the shop tomorrow to count the bottles in the box.
to make sure that it's the right number.
I'll sell you the answer.
He's buggered anyway, because if
I've got preference tape there.
If he goes past 10, he has to take his shoes and socks off.
And then they can only count an extra 8.
Well, people, we've gone a little bit over time because I've really enjoyed the show. It's not been all about vaping. We've talked about a lot of stuff. And it's so fantastic to have James back on, brother. Thank you so much for being here, mate.
It's a pleasure to be here, mate, honestly. Also, just I've obviously been involved with the chat. I'm going to catch up with the chat on the side after the show. So anyone that you think I've ignored you, I didn't do it intentionally. I've just been that bothered about the issues that we've been talking about. So.
I'm exactly the same as you. I think all of us have been like that. The chat's been absolutely fantastic. I've been keeping an eye on it. Bill Richards, you can't put it in this chat, mate. It's going to be in the comments below after the video, not in this chat, brother. So
yeah,
that'll help you. Well, I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to say our goodbyes. We'll go straight over to Salford. But wait, before we go to Salford, we will do Salford's. I've got to move this bit out of the way. Salford's quote of the week. Let's get his 3T up. Salford's quote of the week.
Right. So very apt again because my quote actually will tie into what we were speaking about homeless, and it is, the world is changed by your example, not your opinions. And I think that's very apt.
Very good. Yep.
Salford's quote of the week, people. Go on then, Salford, say your goodbyes, my friend.
Right, guys, you in chat and our spanners, you do a fantastic job there. It's great you guys being in. Without you, we don't have a show. I say it every week, as you know. And yeah, it's been absolutely lovely having James on again. And I'll be hitting him up for a T-shirt.
Yeah,
I'm disappointed now. I'm not got a T-shirt. And yeah, great show. I could have went on another 2 hours, mate. I must admit, chatting away today.
You're all right.
And yeah, James, fantastic. Love the juices, you know that anyway. Guys, if you haven't tried them, get out there and try them. They are well worth the money. They really are. And I'll pass it back.
One thing I've really got to thank, and a lot of companies completely forget about them, but I've really got to shout out my team. I wouldn't be anything without the team.
Yeah.
Promotions team, big up Sean, captain, and all members. We've got a German team now as well. Big up Pascal. I really can't thank them enough. We wouldn't be anywhere without them. I really can't thank them enough. And thank you guys for having me on. And
you can do your little bits in a second, you know.
James, you must shout out the guy who does the fancy photographs for group, because he does some lovely photographs.
Oh, yeah, AJ Dambala as well. If anybody needs any pictures taken, product photos or anything, hit him up. He's always waiting.
Just before we get to James, we'll just do Simon, then you can do all your little bits. We'll go to Simon. Go and say your goodbyes, bro.
Bye.
Right now to James.
Thank you to everybody in chat. And as James said that, well, I always struggle keeping up with chat anyway, whether anybody's on or not. But honestly, thank you to everybody in chat. Thank you to the spanners for looking after everything. Thank you to the lovely and you know I love you, Salford. And I've been really nice to you tonight as well, haven't I? Sorry, David, not Salford. David.
I know. Call me by my Sunday name as well. I must be heading for a clout because that's what my mother does.
Yeah.
David.
So yeah, no, thank you very much indeed, Salford. Thank you for the wonderful Mr. Brother from another. That was easy for you to say. Brother from I can't even say it. There is honestly only T in that. There's nothing else. Brother from another Aiden.
Brother from another Aiden. I'm giving birth now.
brother from another mother.
Right, shit.
I'm going to shut up. And thank you for the. I'm going to call. I've never. Do you know? In all the times that I've known you, James, I've never called you by a nickname. So I want to say thank you very much indeed, Straub. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you on, and I will come up and see you this week. I promise. So,
right, James, it's down to you, mate. Say your goodbyes.
I've said most of them already, but I've got to thank you, fellas. Thank you for having me on again. And in the exact same respect of it, if there's ever another chance of coming on, just give me a shout. I'm always free. And not only that, but if there's anything that I can ever help out with anybody, to do with any mental health issues or any fundraiser or anything like that, just give us a shout. We're all in.
Excellent. I'm going to interrupt you, and I'm really, really sorry. But have you heard of the group Misfits? And they do an actual show on a Saturday. They're actually guys that suffer with mental health and help people with mental health. Absolutely fantastic. True Vapor and Sean and Matt. Absolutely fantastic, really is. So, you know, if you guys have never heard it in chat, go over, have a watch. You know, go over, join the Facebook group and what have you. They really do a good job. They really do.
Cool. We'll have to touch base with those guys. And again, big thanks to everyone in chat. Big shout to Bill Richard. Good to see you again. And yeah, so big up the team, big up the distributors, big up everyone. And a massive thank you to you all. You don't understand what this does for me in my happiness. Just a chance to have a chat with everybody, man. That's what it is.
I think we're all going to say this. It's been an absolute fantastic show. Just like Salford said, we could have gone on for another 2.5 hours. It's been absolutely fantastic. I've had a right good giggle as well. It's been brilliant. Just like Salford said, the True Vapor, it's the Misfits. Please get over there. I think I'm going to be on the show one Saturday when I'm not working. Please get over there. There's such a nice set of people. You can join the group there. I've forgotten what time it is on the Saturday. If somebody could put that in chat.
Chris is in chat, actually.
Chris,
True Vapor's in
Chris,
chat.
if you want to stick it in there, mate, let us know. I'd like to say thank you very much to the chat. I'm sorry we've sort of ignored you a little bit, but it's been such talking to each other. It's been absolutely fantastic. Spanners, thank you very
Yeah.
much for looking after us. It's always a pleasure. Thank you so much to my normal co-host. James, you are welcome on here anytime, mate. You're such a lovely bloke. Obviously, I've met you in person as well. You're a lovely bloke. And like we said, the flavour's absolutely corking. Please get over there and support him. He's a corking bloke. And hopefully we'll have you on again, mate, pretty soon. You never know, I might call you next week.
Mate, I'm free all the time. So, yeah, any time. It's a pleasure.
Well,
has put
ladies
the
and
time
gentlemen,
in.
sorry, Salford.
Chris has put the time in the show, 9 o'clock on the Saturday, I think it is.
Yep. 9 o'clock on Saturday. Get over there and watch him. Totally different type of show. You're going to have a proper good giggle as well. They're a nice set of lads. Well, it's got to that point of the hour, which we've gone way over, which has been quite nice. Like Salford said, we could have carried on for ages. People, make sure you join us next week. Same time, same bat channel. And it's been amazing. Look after yourselves. A good and a night. Oh, just one thing. Just one thing before I go. It is the E-Sick Click Awards. Last year I was lucky to get into the last 10. Please go over there and give Little Bro his little vote. Just put Little Bro. And don't forget the comments down after this video gets there. You've got a chance of the big giveaway. 10 flavours. You've got a t-shirt, a hat, and guess how many bottles are in that actual box. Well worth it. In the comments when it comes up. See you later, people. Good night.
Well,
Don't forget to check out my latest video. Also, don't forget to check out 3 Men and a Vape Show live at 8 PM every Wednesday. And also, if you enjoyed the video, make sure you subscribe. Ring that notification bell. And we'll catch you later. He is joking, by the way.
That's earlier as well.